Welcome back. Next Thursday, the NID and the FES will collaboratively host an intergenerational dialogue under the Threads to Remembrance, Building an Inclusive and Informed Namibia banner. Under the theme Cultural Erasure and Memory Reclamation, the discussion will explore how colonialism disrupted language, identity, and cultural memory, and how communities are actively reclaiming what was once silenced. The dialogue brings together voices across generations to reflect on storytelling, language preservation, and memory as tools of resistance and restoration. And joining us to unpack this is Jacinta Kasume, who is the event moderator and NID program manager, as well as Ms. Sylvia Mundjindi, who is the project manager at the FES. Good evening and welcome, ladies.
Good evening. Good evening.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Well, to start with, Jacinta, when we speak about cultural erasure in the Namibian context, what exactly does that mean?
Yeah, I think we're referring to the deliberate and systemic erasure of indigenous identities and knowledge systems, particularly in regards to colonial and neo-colonial rule. And this obviously includes the suppression of languages, of people, the renaming of people and places and objects, as well as indigenous histories and silencing them. So I think when we speak about cultural erasure, is the erasure of ourselves as people and what colonialism did to that.
Sylvia, from the FES's perspective, why is it important, to create structured platforms to host and address, this erasure that Jacinta mentioned, and now at this particular time?
Well, coming from an institutions, the German Political Foundation, that advocates for social justice and democracy, and the German Political Foundation, the Friedrich Ebert Stiftung Namibia, actually has also strong historical relationship with Namibia, and one of the reasons is also because of the past, what has happened here in Namibia, the issue of genocide, the consequence of colonialism. We really feel that we have that responsibility that we need to play, to have a series of dialogue to talk about the consequences of the colonial past, which is the memory erasure, cultural erasure. So we really need to talk about between the two generations for them to understand what it means. And the elderly ones, they can then also impart the knowledge, the wealth of knowledge that they had as a result of colonialism. And the younger people can also learn from the elder generation.
Jacinta, just expand a little bit further on what Sylvia just mentioned, because you were intentional about having this dialogue be intergenerational.
Yeah, I mean, memory doesn't only live in books, it also lives in people, and human beings are a knowing entity. And with elders that have gone through colonialism, that have the memory of colonialism, but they also have oral histories, and they embody all of these experiences, and some of which have not been formally documented on one hand. And then on the other hand, we have the youth who carry this responsibility of interrogating and questioning said histories, but ultimately carrying it forward into the next generation. So I think this space intentionally aims to disrupt the separation between the elders and the youth, because there's oftentimes conversation, but these conversations happen in silos. And what we want to foster is mutual understanding and accountability. And ultimately, how do we as a collective reimagine the future and reimagine ourselves? So I think it's important to bring both generations together so that they can unpack and learn from one another.
Yeah. Well, it's not an easy topic to discuss. So as a moderator, what kind of, tensions or difficult truths are you expecting or prepared to navigate with this conversation?
Yeah, I'll start off by saying that I've had the immense privilege of moderating various discussions under the Threads to Remembrance initiative for the past 2 years. And I've walked away and continue to walk away with so much, I don't know, lessons, in such a lived experience. And I think oftentimes when we have these conversations, a lot of tensions rise, and tensions around belonging and responsibility and accountability and identity and so many things rise. And I think it's important for me to be mindful and to be empathetic to the participants in the room and to humanize the conversation as much as possible, because at the end of the day, we're just people having a human experience and having conversation with our fellow human beings. So just to be mindful and to humanize the space, but also to help humanize each other.
Well, Sylvia, talk to us about how, the broader Threads to Remembrance initiative creates a safe space for those difficult but necessary conversations.
Yeah, I think by trying to create a safe space, the moderator, I think she is well experienced, and she will set the rules for engagement, which I believe will be tolerance for each other's views, because these conversations are quite very sensitive. Sometimes people become emotional. People must also respect each other's views without intimidating each other or trying to put each other down. So I really believe we are going to have those rules set out in advance so that people know when we really come. Maybe at times we become very emotional, we become angry what the other person has said simply because you are not directly affected. That's why you are saying the way things are, and I'm the one who's affected by the problem, and that's why you don't have that empathy. So we are going to make sure that at least there is some mature conversations when we are discussing this sensitive topic, but yet important conversations.
For young Namibians, Jacinta, who feel disconnected from their language, and I think there's a lot of them that probably do. You'll find young Namibians today who don't speak their mother tongue, or only speak, English. So they feel disconnected from their language, which makes them feel disconnected from their heritage. What role can storytelling play in, in restoring that?
Yeah, I mean, I want to start off by saying you're not alone, because I'm one of those young Namibians where I'm part Namibian, part Kenyan, and I cannot speak either of my mother tongues fluently. So you're not alone. But to answer your question, I think storytelling is such a powerful tool for identity restoration, because when young people, hear stories in their mother tongue, or when they discover the meaning of names and proverbs and songs, they feel like they're part of a lineage. You are now part of a people. You're not an individual, and you're not an isolated event. And I think that is important, because one of the things that colonialism sought to do is to erase that, erase that sense of belonging. So I think it's extremely important, and I think we should also take it upon ourselves to continue these stories, to continue these songs. And ultimately, I think that's the only way that we'll be able to reimagine ourselves and bring ourselves into the future, if we continually bring about these stories and discover and do our research and learn more about ourselves.
Well, beyond the dialogue, Sylvia, what practical or long-term impacts, do you hope that the series will have on not only communities but institutions as well?
Yeah, but I think, let me start with institutions. I think institutions should really, especially the ones that are involved in developmental projects, they should really not destroy the cultural heritage, such as the historical sites, the monuments that we are finding in Luderet, that we are finding in Swakopmund, because that has really, it's part of the cultural identity. They must not erase the memory of the past also, because it's quite a very painful past, but it is quite also important for people to remember what really happened. And also when it comes to community, I think community should really keep on advocating for social justice in terms of what has happened in the past. Genocide has brought along a lot of problems in our society, especially when it comes to social inequality. We experience a lot of poverty, especially amongst the affected community. Most of them, they don't have land anymore. They live in poverty, and also their cultural identity has been distorted, and some of them, they also live in the diaspora. They are no more in where they are supposed to belong. So they should keep on fighting until justice is done.
Jacinta, should we not actively make an effort to reclaim, memory and language? What do we risk losing as a nation?
Yeah, I mean, the late, great Gogewa Diogo is like one of my favorite writers ever. But he theorized that language is intrinsically tied to memory and vice versa. And so when you seek to colonize a people, you destroy their language first, because by doing so, you destroy their memory. And so what we risk losing is ourselves, ultimately. Yeah, and I think I'm going to park it there.
Yeah. Well, of course, the conversation's happening on the 19th, Sylvia, and I'm sure there are members of the public who would like to attend, but they have to register. So just talk to us about that, where it will happen, what time it starts, and if they'd like to register to be, part of this, how can they go about that?
Yeah, they simply just have to register. We have posters and invitations on the Namibian social media page. They must just go there. The details are there. And they can also register through NID, the Namibian Institute for Democracy, and also through the Friedrich Ebert Stiftung. And we are not going to turn anybody away simply because they didn't register.
Okay.
They are also free to come. The venue is the Gateway Center, located between Katutura and Khomasdal. So it's entrance is free of charge. And we are going to start on the 19th, which is a Thursday in the afternoon, late afternoon. It's from 5:30 to 8 o'clock. So we look forward to any young person, any elderly person. They are all welcome, because we want to create conversations that will actually move Namibia forward.
Yeah. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us. Final words, Jacinta?
Please do come and educate yourself. Honestly, to the speakers is Nesindano Namises, she's a poet and a language activist, and then we have Dr. Basilius Kasera, who is an academic and social justice theorist, and they are both brilliant and lovely to listen to. So you should definitely come and educate yourself, and it's really going to be a great, beautiful, safe space. So you should really come.
Ladies, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much, Nina. That's nice having you.
Well, after this brief break, we continue with the Daily Roundup. Do stay with us.